Yo guys, what's up? In this episode I explain the final events of World War II. After the fall of Berlin, Britain formed an alliance with France and China to regain control of Vietnam and all other colonies in Indochina. After the Typhoon of Steel had ended on Okinawa by June 22nd of 1945, the final battle was upon Japan. Yokohama, in the utmost south of mainland Japan, had already been bombed at the end of May, with the objective for US bombers to eradicate all remaining Japanese air bases. The Japanese Prime Minister and War Commander Ugaki did not feel like surrendering on June 22nd, saying that the entire population had been brainwashed with the samurai code. Surrender was considered as dishonor, disrespectful to the fellow citizens, and an utter shame to the ancestors. Thousands of Japanese who had been liberated by USA had still committed suicide, sometimes even with their entire families. Also, Norway and Italy had declared war on Japan, and an unconditional surrender was offered by General Eisenhower on July 17th of 1945. However, again, Ugaki refused to give up even though he had no more fighting power left. On top of that, Japan also sank the infamous USS Mississippi on July 30th, right after it had delivered WMD parts to Okinawa. By then, it was a certainty that Japan would never stop fighting and that an invasion of the mainland would only result in thousands of additional unnecessary deaths for both USA and Japan. There was no other option left for General Eisenhower and President Harry Truman than to make the inhumane decision to set an example and to force the Japanese High Command into surrender with a blast that had a scale the world had never seen before. To limit the civilian casualties and to avoid affecting regions around Japan, the US WMD targets were located in the southwest of Japan. On August 6th, the Little Boy was dropped onto Hiroshima from the B-29 bomber Enola Gay. Between 70,000 and 126,000 people died in that horrific blast. On August 9th, the utmost tip of southwest Japan, called Nagasaki, saw the Fat Man being dropped from the Boxcar bomber. This time between 39,000 and 80,000 civilians were killed, which forced Emperor Hirohito to finally surrender and to mark August 15 of 1945 as the official end of World War II. War Commander Ugaki was eaten by guilt and desperately tried to deliver a final Oka attack personally, accompanied by a volunteer suicide pilot, but the plane was shot down before being able to make an impact. Former Prime Minister Hideki Tojo was unwillingly rescued from a failed seppuku attempt, only to be executed by hanging on December 23rd. The Japanese Imperial Army had only managed to destroy 51 ships and 1 aircraft carrier during the entire war. The Cold War between USA and the Soviets began right after World War II, but on October 16th of 1946, Generals Keitel and Jodl were executed by hanging for crimes against humanity after the Nuremberg trials. Göring had managed to commit suicide with cyanide thanks to a bribe for one of the guards. He was found dead in his cell just moments before his scheduled hanging, with one eye closed and one eye open. Albert Speer was sentenced to 20 years and died as a free man in 1981. He was outlived by non-convicted General Monke, commander of Berlin's defense, who died in 2001. Camp Commander Amon Goeth was arrested in Bad Tolz and had already been hanged in September of 1946. Admiral Raeder was released from a life sentence because of sickness and died in 1960, and Großadmiral Karl Dönitz was imprisoned for 10 years, despite huge amounts of letters to spare him. See you on the next one, guys. Peace.